Welcome to Caleb's Basketball Pod. Here is your 9 and 10 seed play-in game. So these games they don't hold as much weight as those 7 or 8, or as the winner of this game versus the loser of the 7 and 8 games. But this is your forced win or go home game, because your 8 and 7 seed games, if you lose, you still have another shot. So it's like a series almost, a best of 3 series. As where this, on the other hand, is losing, you go home. So this is our first taste of like a game 7. So this is do or die for these 4 teams. For Miami Heat, at the Chicago Bulls is where we'll start, and after that we will get to the Dallas Mavericks against the Sacramento Kings. Okay, so Miami, Chicago. This game's very interesting. It's odd to the point as in neither team would have been close to the playoffs had this play-in not been. So that's where a lot of people will say, well, that's not fair. Like, say you're an Atlanta fan and Atlanta ends up losing to Orlando. Actually, let's better describe it as this. You're an Orlando Magic fan. They're the 7th seed. They have a winning record. Somehow they lose to Atlanta. Somehow they lose to the winner of this game. Now you would say, well, that's unfair. We rightfully made the playoffs as the 7th seed with a winning record and 2 teams with a losing record all in the playoffs. This is where that gets fuzzy. But none of it matters because we implemented this NBA play-in rule. So now all it means is we go through this play-in and you have a shot. You want to hover around that 9 or 10 seed, and maybe 20 on might have the right moment, and now, hey, what you know, you're in the playoffs. So we start with Chicago-Miami. Chicago-Miami should be an interesting game, and gets a clash of 2 different styles. You see the Chicago Bulls want to get up and down the floor. They want to shoot a ton of threes. You see Miami's a little slower paced, a little bit more defensive-minded, so to speak, than Chicago. So it's a clash of styles. It's in Chicago. The crowd's going to be rocking because Chicago hasn't had much success in recent years. And they get to host a play-in game, which is kind of like a playoff game. So that Chicago crowd's going to be really fired up. I think with the crowd helping and Chicago's fast pace and ability to outscore opponents very well as of late, especially. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls on this one. I do think there is a world in where Miami turns it up. We know they can play different when it comes to the playoffs. Eric Spoelstra is an amazing coach. He's great at game planning. He's had multiple days, about a week at least, of knowing you're versus Chicago. So he's been able to game plan and plan for this. I do think that experience and Miami's ability to control the game could come into play, and Miami may turn it up. We may see a different Bam Adebayo than we've been seeing, which has been up and down. We may see him turn all the way up, and we may see them beat Chicago. But my prediction right now is Chicago wins. Chicago moves on to take on the loser of Orlando. As for your next one, this game's interesting too. So this is the game where you're thinking to yourself, if Kyrie Irving don't tear his ACL, then the Dallas Mavericks are probably, in just my opinion, they're probably in the play-in, but probably as a 7 or 8 seed. Because Golden State really turned it up. Dallas would have to be better than them. I'm not exactly saying they would have finished better than them, but they probably could have finished better than Memphis. Memphis, as I mentioned, was struggling for the year. So you're at that point where if you're Dallas, you would have gotten at least a home play-in game. Now you're Dallas, you get a road play-in game against the Sacramento Kings, and if you win that, you have to go to Memphis or Golden State. So it's a big game for Dallas. Anthony Davis has been playing really well. Tristan Figure fades out. Sacramento is a really difficult team to predict to me. They've had some games where they look really good. We've seen them beat Cleveland multiple times. We've seen them get big wins throughout the season, and then we've also seen them get big losses. They dropped a game to the Washington Wizards. Like I said, Sacramento has been very unpredictable. Sometimes they bring their best when something's on the line or it feels like they're against a better team. But for this game, just inconsistency and compared to being there before, winning a championship, I'm going to lean on Anthony Davis's playoff experience and experience some big games like this, like big game 7s that he's played in. He's won a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to go with Dallas Mavericks on this one. I think Dallas is going to win, and I think they will play more than likely Memphis. Again, going by my prediction. And like I said, we'll talk about the winner versus the number 1 seed games on the next episode. And we're going to have an episode of previewing all of our playoff series. So the 1-8 playoff series, depending on when we preview those may be a little bit of a half preview of, say, against Atlanta and say against Chicago or wherever the 2 teams may be. For Cleveland and Oklahoma against, say, Sacramento and against, say, Golden State, it'd just be half and see, because depending on when the episode drops and when it's recorded, we may not exactly know who the 8th seed is, but I want to get these previews in before our playoffs start. But thank you guys for watching, and have a great day, and tune back in, because playoff time, and like I said, this is bound to be one of the most competitive playoffs we've seen in a long time in the NBA, and it's going to be really fun to watch, so stay tuned.